known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers best bet or daily package for only $2.
Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. I'm Lawrence Presman. He's Teddy Covers. We're wearing the same color shirt today. And you're watching the best daily sports betting show on the planet. Teddy, we got an interesting show today. Very exciting. Andrew Mcinnis joining us. He's going to talk some hockey. He's got a bet for us on a game that goes on Saturday night. Regular season begins Friday. That's the San Jose Sharks and Nashville Predators. They are playing in Prague, which I've heard is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. He's also got a totals bet, season win totals bet on the New York Rangers. And Rob Veno, some baseball and UNLV and San Jose State. And, of course, Dave Sharapan. My brother, we got to get into all the circus stuff. Before we do that, and I'll explain what went down, how are you?
I'm okay, Prez. I've had better Tuesdays. Hasn't been running good the last couple of days, unfortunately. How about this for a bad beat last night? I don't know if anyone was watching Padres Giants. I was. If you had the under in that game, it's 0-0 into the bottom of the eighth. I've got the Giants at the nice plus price. 7-4 final. Padres score 7 in the bottom of the ninth, and then San Fran comes back with 4 in the top or bottom of the eighth, and San Fran comes back with 4 in the top of the ninth. Brutal beat for those bettors, Prez. But the very worst beats are going to come with unders and MLB. It was a doozy last night.
Yeah, Teddy, there's two things that have happened recently, and I want to know your thoughts on how they affect bets, because I'm feeling it. The first is we never know when a coach is going to go for it on fourth down. And that fourth down, whether they make it or they don't make it, has such a massive impact, especially on totals. I mean, you're down at the 10-yard line in the red zone, 4th and 1, you miss it. And now the field position, they move it 3 first downs, then they punt, 9 minutes is gone. They get it. It scores and a kick. And then, of course, the man starting on second base in baseball in extra innings. And it's affected a lot of totals as well. How are you accounting for this stuff, or are you just sort of doing your regular thing and not factoring it in?
So as a handicapper, there's 5,000 things you can look at for every game. All right. What you're trying to find is meaningful, predictive information. And that will help you looking for which sides or which totals you actually want to put your hard-earned money on. But when it comes to things like the MLB new extra inning rule or coaches going for it on fourth down, you can spend a lot of time handicapping those things. I'm not sure how much predictive results you're going to get from that work. So, yes, they're factors. Are they factors that are handicappable and beatable as a result of the handicap? I don't think so. It's just one more of the 5,000 things that can happen in any game that you may want to consider. But in terms of actually finding something, this coach goes for it on fourth downs, and this coach doesn't, maybe you can find something with totals on that. But to be honest, Prez, there's a ton of info. What's predictive is what can help you. I'm not sure that either of these two are.
Yeah, well, I'll slightly disagree because, let's look at Staley, the Chargers. This guy goes for it on fourth down all the time. So let's say that he has a pattern where he's going to go for it 4 times in a game, wherever that is on the field, whatever it is, somewhere around 4 times a game. If he misses all 4, the next week, the math would suggest that they're going to get 3 out of those 4. So there is a percentage of how many times a 4th and 1 converts or doesn't convert. And if you miss a whole bunch in a row, likely you're going to get that back mathematically later on. But that's also too small a sample size.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is not predictable moving forward, so it's not information that we'll be spending our time trying to figure out. where we want to look as a human being, you have X amount of number of hours in a day and X number of hours in a week. How you choose to spend those hours and how you choose to spend those handicapping hours is up to you. If you want to spend that time worrying about runners on second base or worrying about which coaches are going to go for it on fourth down and how to predict that, you can't do it.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is spend my time looking at stuff that maybe has some predictive value. This doesn't.
That's totally good point. Okay, let's talk Circa. So the bottom line, Teddy, and people want to talk about WagerTalk and the handicappers here. Carmine Bianco and Adam Trigger's group. And Adam Trigger is in a group. We'll talk to him about that tomorrow. But Adam Trigger's group and Carmine Bianco split first prize for the first quarter of the Circa. Adam made Adam's group made $105,000. Carmine, however, had the lucky position of being able to hedge on San Fran. So he got another $11,000 on top of that. So Carr made about $120,000. Adam made $105,000. Carm's $120,000, however, does convert to $160,000 when taking into the account the exchange rate, which Adam does not have to help him with. But anyway, congratulations to both those two. We have restructured Wednesday's show. We will have Adam Trigger on first, Carmine Bianco on second. I could not be happier. I mean, listen, dude, Trig just got engaged, so he's clearly going to need the cash. Carmine, with the exchange rate, that's some serious dough. These two guys couldn't have happened to two nicer guys at a better time. I am thrilled. Anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, WagerTalk's doing real good in the contest this year.
Yeah, yep.
And let's give our guys credit. There's certainly, you talk about Trigger's group, and it's not just Adam. Adam's in a group with other guys that are doing that, and Carm's doing that as well. You and I with the WagerTalk Today entry over at the Westgate Superbook and the Super Contest. What are we, 16-4 right now? I mean, There's a bunch of real good entries from WagerTalk cappers. Been a pretty good start to the season in the NFL for a lot of us, and hopefully you out there in viewerland been able to take advantage.
Yeah, dude, I got three teams going. Mine and yours were 16-4 at the Westgate. Then I'm in with Kelly, Marco, Jay, Money, Steve, and myself. We are 17-3 at the Westgate. And then I have a pick at the Circa in which I am 12-8, which is totally reasonable. Totally reasonable.
Yeah, you go 12-8, you go 60% for the year, you'll make the money.
Yep, exactly. Teddy, was your bad beat what bettors learned, or do you want to still do that segment? I'm a little confused.
Yeah, so no, it wasn't what bettors learned. I have a short bettors learned, and I think it's worth noting. So let me do that real quick right here. Let's talk about what bettors learned last night. This is something I didn't take advantage of, and I should have. And let me start with this, all right? I do not believe that NFL games are fixed in any way, shape, or form. Not buying it. And yet, there's one tip that I've learned over the years. When the books lose on Sunday, they tend to win some back on Monday night. Off a big weekend for public bettors, you want to fade the public on Monday Night Football. If you do it blindly, you'll make a profit long term. And I didn't do it last night. It was really hard for me to make a case for the 49ers as chalk. And it cost me, obviously, San Fran, a right side in that ballgame. Look, the sharp side, the square side stuff is overrated, with the exception of single event national TV games. That's the time to fade the public. When you had a fade the public TV game last night off a winning weekend for the recreational players on Sunday, yeah, it was a time that sometimes you just blindly play contrarian. Last night was that time. Unfortunately, I didn't take advantage of it. So Monday night contrarian off a winning Sunday for the public should be an auto bet or close. We'll look to do that next time. Unfortunately, I didn't do it last night. What do you think about that, Prez?
Well, I mean, for me, Teddy, when I look at handicapping games, I just don't pay any attention to where the public is, where they're not, where the wise guys are, where they're not. When we entered this industry, that was something that I used to care about a lot. I would put here are my 5 favorite plays on Sunday. They'll be like, shit, 78% of the public are on that. I'm going to take that out. And it doesn't factor in my brain at all. Now, with that said, I would rather not be on a game that 98% of the public are on. But if I am, I am. So it just is completely irrelevant to me.
Sure. I mean, from the time when I'm going to consider that the most, all right, when I'm talking about worried about who the public likes is those single event TV games. It was a Thursday night, Friday night, Monday night, Sunday night. Yeah. Those are the games that I'm paying attention. Other than that, it's going to take 75, 80% consensus at multiple places, to get me off a play.
Yeah, I had the under last night, so that worked out really well for me. I did not get to tell everybody. I had a great Sunday, guys. I ended up going 5-2, but I had the Rams at +8 on a teaser that lost last night, Teddy. Man, that San Fran defense was just spectacular last night. Before we get into the show, one quick question for you, Teddy. At San Fran, I mean, why did they even come into the Europe thinking Trey Lance was going to be the starter? I don't get what's going on there. Like, this is a guy that has led them to, deep playoff runs, and he, as a game manager, was spectacular last night. Why can't they just say, hey, we got a quarterback and move forward? I don't get it.
Jimmy G's much better playing with the lead than he is trying to rally his team from behind. And I think that has something to do with it.
Okay, then if your team goes behind by a lot, then throw Trey Lance in. Andrew McInnis, anything to add?
Well, I find the conversation very interesting about the prime time, fading the public. That conversation is always interesting to discuss. And it's like you said, Prez, you never want to, just take away your play because the public has hammered it. Maybe you don't love that, but I like what you said there, Teddy, about the primetime games, and especially yesterday. It just kind of had that feel to it. After what we saw on Sunday, it just kind of had that feel that the Rams, might not have been the side in that one. But, you don't always want to base your handicapping off it, but I'd say I'm aware of it, but I would never actually make any plays based off it. But those primetime games, sometimes you just feel it, especially on Monday nights. What happens on Sunday, the public has a good day. I think Monday night you can kind of tell what's going to happen.
Andrew McInnis joining us, everyone. Andrew was the number one NHL expert last year by far. Let's start right off the bat with NHL, my friend. We got the season starting on Friday. Saturday, we have a game in Prague. Nashville playing San Jose. Where are you going here?
So, Prez, it's such a weird schedule to start off this season because the fact of the matter is they're playing preseason games after this regular season game is played. I know that might sound weird. They're still playing preseason games while these games are being played. This, of course, is in Prague, like you mentioned. This is a back-to-back to start off the year here. We have Nashville and San Jose. For anybody out there wondering as far as the travel goes, these teams have been in Europe already. They are playing exhibition games against some European teams. But it's pure and simple for me. I think when you start off the season in game one, both teams are going to be very careful, very conservative, testing out their lines, their chemistry, their matchups, their game planning. I'm staying away from game one. But already ahead, before I've even seen them play, I'm jumping in on the game two over. Now you can get 5.5 at a -125, 130, or you can get 6 at a solid price. But first of all, the starting goaltenders for these guys are actually pretty good. But the backup goaltenders, I'm not too confident in. And you're seeing a back-to-back for these two teams to start off a regular season on the road in Europe. To me, that is a recipe for disaster. And when teams play on back-to-back nights, a lot of times you see physicality starts to ramp up. You start to see all that smack talking, the hits after the whistle, the stick work. What does that lead to, Prez? Power plays. Power plays lead to power play goals, and we can go up and over the total. So, these teams, they both have really solid top sixes. And I think there's a couple of good defenders on both. But when it comes down to it, playing a back-to-back in Europe to start off your season with two backup goaltenders in game two, I'm staying off game 1, and I'm already locking in the over for game number 2.
So last year, the New York Rangers finished with 110 points. A fairly successful season, 52, 24, and 6 overall. This year, we're seeing them lined in the 99, 99 and a half, 100-point range for the season. What do you think about the Rangers? Are they a team we want to be betting over or under 99 and a half points?
Most of the time, Teddy, I like having my money on unders when it comes to win totals or point totals. This time around, I'm looking at the over for the New York Rangers on their season win total or point total. I think they are ready to take that next step, to take that next jump. I'm going to throw in here on the show, I feel like they are a good bet to win the Eastern Conference, to win the Stanley Cup. There is value there. Number is very solid. When it comes down to this team, one thing I really like about the Rangers, they have a great mix of vets and youth. And to me, in a hockey club, it's very important to have that. You want to have that good structure with guys like Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, and you look down the lineup with Capo Caco, Alexis Lafreniere, and they go and pick up a guy named Vincent Trocheck from the Hurricanes. A guy, to me, that is a really key pickup in the offseason. I don't like to make a huge deal out of one guy being added to a team, but I think he's a rock-solid player that's not going to be scoring every night. He plays both offense and defense, does a great job in both ends of the rink, and he brings a good presence to that hockey team. They also have a great goaltender in Igor Shesterkin, fresh off winning the best goaltender award. So that's huge for them. And they have a great blue line. I mean, it's not just one or two solid defensemen for them. They have several great defensemen. So last year, they came up short. This year, they're going to have a big year.
Yeah, and Andrew, you speak a lot about the New York Rangers and what they've done to allow them to go over that number of 99 points. You got to also look at the division they're in. I mean, Carolina is much better than they were last year, but Washington isn't. Pittsburgh isn't. I mean, they're in the weakest division in all of hockey from my perspective. There's only one team in there that's going to give them fits, and that's Carolina. I think that play makes a lot of sense. I'm super high on the Rangers coming into the season, just like you. Andrew, as we spoke about, the number one handicapper in NHL last year, guys, 153% return on investment. I mean, it is nobody is doing that in NFL or college football. I can tell you that, largely because there's just not enough games. But I mean, in all seriousness, I don't think anyone is going to beat 150 ROI in any sport in any season this year. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Anything else? That's it. What else?
Yeah. So $5.99 for the early bird special. That will go back to $6.99, I believe, in about 5 or 6 days. So if you want to jump in on the full season, get that now. And this will be one of the first seasons where I'm releasing an extended report. Just like Teddy does, you know, I'm gonna try and get into that every year, like you, Teddy. Extended report with my NHL season point totals, futures, and don't miss out on the start of the season. You know, don't wait for me to get on a run in October to join in with me on November. You know, start from the season, ride it out. And these packages, they go all the way until the Stanley Cup Finals, not just a regular season.
Yeah. And honestly, they're the only way to win long term. And Teddy tells everybody this over and over and over again. Buy these long term packages. Andrew Mcinnis, everyone, thanks for joining us, brother.
Thanks, guys.
Teddy, it is $2 Tuesday over at WagerTalk. Marco D'Angelo is the featured handicapper. He is the $2 Tuesday handicapper. And he is red hot right now, bro. He's got a 5% play up for Saturday in college football. He's on a 21-8 run. Over the last 4 weeks, Marco is on a 40-18 run. So outstanding stuff. It's also the $5 package over at Sports Memo. 3 handicappers for $5. That includes the gold sheet, Rocky Atkinson, and of course, the handsome co-host of WagerTalk Today, Teddy Covers. So $5, you get Teddy Covers as 5% big ticket blowout, the gold sheets 5% play, and Rocky Atkinson's NFL Sunday game of the week. Check that all out. Teddy, before we take a break, One of our viewers, Andrew, asks, Prez, are you up on the poker cheating scandal? Teddy, are you familiar with what's going on with the poker situation? I don't know the names, but the cleavage versus the guy. Are you familiar?
So there's been a lot of buzz on Twitter about it, and when you scroll down your Twitter feed, I've seen some of the threads, but I have not scrolled through them to figure out what the heck's going on. There was an issue. I know it was like that. She made a call that you can't make,
right?
As a call, and then her jack high ended up winning the hand. But I don't know anything about it. So the one thing that I saw that someone said is that they thought that maybe she misread her hand. She thought she had a pair of threes, a jack 3 instead of a jack 4. But no, I'm not really familiar with it on a real level. Why do you ask?
Well, no, because it's fascinating. And here's the thing that I just wanted to mention. It's not a cheating scandal. Nobody was caught cheating. There is this much evidence of cheating. Now, it was a terrible call. It was one of the worst calls I've ever seen. However, that is very different to, this guy is saying that she had magnets in her shoes or something. She would need to see his cards to be able to make that call. Unless someone could explain how she saw his cards when they were down, it's not. Gamblers and cheating, Teddy. I mean, it could be cheating, but as of now, it is not a cheating scandal. What is a cheating scandal is, go ahead.
Well, we live in a world where everything's a conspiracy,
Yeah, exactly.
We have people come on, Aaron Judge hitting home run. Oh, they must be feeding Aaron Judge balls.
Yeah.
Someone asked us a question. I mean, every single thing is a conspiracy, and nothing happens by chance. There's some nefarious action behind everything. And I don't tend to think that.
Yeah, listen, there's no proof that cleavage cheated there. There is proof that there were cheating in the fishing scandal, but that's for another day. We're going to take a quick break. Teddy's Big Game Breakdown, Robert Veno. And guys, check out Robert Veno. He is going to be real quick and tight, short, sweet, full of information. And then, of course, Dave Sharapan. Stay with us, everyone.
As $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's look at the NFL on Sunday. And this is a game that stood out to everybody on the card. I'm sure of it. It's one of those games that stands out on the card because it's the biggest point spread of the season in the NFL. Did I say NBA? Woo! In the NFL. Let's see where I'm thinking already. With the Pittsburgh Steelers, 14-point underdogs in Buffalo, total sitting at 47. Look, this line looks high, right? And you want to beware the public dog, right? No, not this time. Now, look, we can understand why the line is where it is. The Bills had 12 wins last year. All 12 came by double-digit margins. 11 came by 14 or more. 10 of the 12 wins last year came by more than 14 points. Already this year, we've seen them blow out the Rams 31-10. We've seen them blow out the Titans 41-7. We know that Buffalo is capable of winning games by margin. They have a history of doing that. That's why this line is as high as it is. But when we look at this spot for the Bills, the last 2 weeks have been absolute wars for that team. They had the 21-19 loss at Miami, a physical game in intense heat. Last week, they rallied from 17 down to win 23-20. They're back-to-backs max effort games for the Buffalo Bills. Now they return home. Exhale spot. They're 2 touchdown favorites. Exhale spot. Oh, did I mention that they have playoff revenge with the Chiefs on deck next week? This is a flat spot for Buffalo, period, even though the Steelers did go into Buffalo last year and beat them. This isn't the game the Bills are pointing to. They've got injury problems, too. and injury problems at key positions. Offensive line banged up, defensive backfield banged up, and wide receiver injuries all over the place for a team with very limited wide receiver depth. This is a survive and advance game for the favorite, not a let's kill them game for the favorite. And Pittsburgh just doesn't lose contact very often. You know, in the last 3 years, they've had 3 losses by more than 2 touchdowns. Happens occasionally, but doesn't happen a lot. And when you read the quotes with Kenny Pickett starting this week, and I know it's a rookie QB starting against an elite defense. Pickett, quote, I just play with an edge. That's something I want to bring to the table. I do not like to lose. This is not a good feeling after last week's game. Tomlin, why he's starting Pickett. I thought he did some good things. I thought there was some energy there. They're live dogs here. I know they're a public live dog. I still think Pittsburgh's a live dog. Give me the Steelers plus the points. And there's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Yeah, tough to take minus 14 with any team. But if I were, I'd do it with the Bills, and I would do it against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't have the balls to make that plus 14 bet, Teddy. I'm going to be curious to look at your card and see if you do. Robert, how are you, my brother?
I am good, Prez. How are you?
Wonderful. We love having you on. You used to be on Fridays. We now have you all over the place, man. Why should only the Friday people get to hang? Oh, I got to make mention before, because I forgot before, totally off topic. Coum, Koum, I can't pronounce that. Coum, 15-5 at the Circa, one of our best listeners and a guy we met at the meet and greet. Way to go. Okay, Robert, back to you. Let's get straight into it, bro. We got UNLV. I was on UNLV on Friday night this past week. It was minus 14. They stunk in the first half, and then they almost got there for us. Now they are plus 7 against San Jose State, a total of 53. We're going to do college football first, then MLB. What do you like in this play?
Yeah, I think I like the over, Prez. It's been bumped off the opener, 50.5, up to now 53. Strange line moved downward early this morning, came right back up. I just happen to think that this is, with the exception of the North Texas game that UNLV played, it's the first time against any FBS foe that either of these teams have been on the field where both offenses are the stronger units than the defenses. And, you know, San Jose State, when you look at their overall defensive statistics, I think they're the beneficiary defensively of facing some really bad quarterback play. They played Auburn with TJ Finley. I think we put him in the category of below average. They played Western Michigan with a redshirt freshman backup in his very first start, Marion Rabowski. They ran the ball in that game, Western Michigan did, 80% of the time to protect their quarterback, didn't throw any passes. Last week, San Jose State plays Wyoming, Andrew Peasley, Utah State transfer, career, 3 years, he's a 54% passer. So they haven't faced any quarterback play whatsoever. I think that skews their defensive numbers. Here they're going to face Doug Brumfeld, who for UNLV has had a real good season so far, 70% completions, 149 pass attempts, only 2 INTs. So Brumfeld's been a pretty good protector of the ball, pretty good passer of the ball. Only LSU has gained more total yards in a game versus New Mexico than what UNLV did last week. New Mexico's a pretty good defensive team. So I like that matchup. UNLV's offense, little balance with Adrian Robbins running the football now to have success against San Jose State's defense. I'll turn it over real quick to the other side. San Jose State's offense should have good luck here versus the UNLV defense. UNLV, Prez, you talked about it last week. They allowed New Mexico a season high 303 total yards. New Mexico had 4 or 5 drives where they were up and down the field against this team. And that's coming off of a game where New Mexico only had 2 first downs. 33 points and 456 total yards posted last week by San Jose State against Wyoming. You add those two together, and you have to believe San Jose State's going to move the ball against UNLV. The quarterback here, Chevan Cordero, was a Hawaii quarterback, transferred out. He's going to take on a UNLV pass defense that if you eliminate their FCS opponent, Idaho State, and you eliminate New Mexico, who can't pass the football, then UNLV is allowing 302 pass yards per game. Brent Brennan loves to throw the football. He's got this run and shoot quarterback in Cordero now who's come on the last 2 weeks. I think got two offensive minded guys. Their offenses are the best units on the field. No weather concerns to speak of here. And the number just seems to be pretty low. When UNLV was faced with a team that could actually move the football in North Texas, the game totaled 75. When they played Utah State, the game totaled 58. I think this one gets over 53.
I wouldn't argue with that at all, Rob. Makes a ton of sense to this better. Let's shift our focus to the last couple of days of the MLB regular season. And one thing that bettors like to do at this time of year is fade the teams that just clinched, especially the teams that just ended an 11-year playoff drought last night and had a perfect game through 7 and probably had a fair bit of champagne, not just in the clubhouse, but well on into the night in Philadelphia. Well, they're in Houston today. They're facing Verlander on pace for another Cy Young, but he's lost each of his last, or the Astros have lost each of his last 2 starts. What are we going to do with Philadelphia and Houston MLB action for Tuesday night? This is an 8:10 Eastern time first pitch.
Yeah, Teddy, I start to smile there at your opening because that's exactly what I'm going to do here. It's a simple handicap, right? Like you say, been doing it for years. But you have to take into account the team that just clinched celebrating overnight. Last night, you see Bryce Harper. We're going to celebrate this. And you saw the champagne flow in the locker room. I was on this last week as well. We saw it with the St. Louis Cardinals when they clinched the division and the Wainwright, Pujols, Yachty deal that's going on this year. But they were absolutely fired up to celebrate that clinching, and they had no further reason to win games, which is the case for the Phillies tonight. They have no further reason to win games here. They can't gain a home field advantage no matter what they do. And they could, in fact, pass the Padres, but I would think that would be more of a hindrance than a help because if you pass the Padres, you throw yourself into a series versus either New York or Atlanta. I think the Phillies would rather stay put where they are and take on the Cardinals. For Houston, there is a little bit of reason to play. You don't want your team to get rusty. It'll be about 10 days before they get to the playoffs. So looking at the lineup last night, Dusty Baker's still using starting lineup. I think he'll do the same tonight. You have no clue what Philadelphia will throw out there for a starting lineup here, depending upon what happened last night. Ranger Suarez has been good. I don't want to undersell him. But again, like you said, Verlander pushing for Cy Young, 9-1 at home this year, 1.73 ERA, 9-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Like I said, had the same exact situation last week. Milwaukee was at home against the celebrating St. Louis team. They had their ace on the hill, Brandon Woodruff, run line. They were plus $1.57. Tonight we're getting about $1.20. I'll take it here with Houston, plus 120 on the full game run line.
Awesome stuff, Robert. Anything to promote, my brother?
Yeah, real quick, I guess I'll promote NBA upcoming, Prez. WagerTalk has put together a nice little combo package with myself and Hakeem Profit. You can get in early on the NBA season for a very short price here. Just go ahead and visit the website, WagerTalk.com, if you're interested in selection packages. I have college football and NFL, one best bet in each up and loaded already. So go ahead and visit WagerTalk.com.
Rob, thanks for joining us, brother. We absolutely love having you. And look at that! Dave Sharapan. I mean, the timing, it's spectacular. He's wearing a Toronto Blue Jay hat and a Seattle Mariners shirt. I'm sure his pants are from the Tampa Bay Rays, I'm guessing. Dan, is he ready to go? Oh, Teddy, we need one. Teddy, we need 1 second. Brother, these unders on prime time in NFL. Well, let's start right there, Dave. Unders in prime time NFL. I was just mentioning to Teddy. Seems like all they do is hit. Obviously, we didn't have one on Sunday night, but I think it's now 9-1 or something to the under. Yeah. Yep.
you should probably be on there more. I said, contractually obligated. They will not let me be on there more. That's fine. But he said, it's great with you guys on there. But man, Prez really likes the drama. And he said it to me, drama.
Hold on,
and he said
Dave,
it
one
like
sec.
you.
Dave. Dan, we're getting told that nobody can hear Dave. What? Okay, you're good now, Dave.
Good now.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. That's okay. I was just saying, I told the story. This guy came up and said he loves the show on Tuesday and loved seeing me on there with you two. I said, he said, you should be on there more. I said, I can't, contractually obligated, not allowed to be, but we're working on it. And he said, boy, that Prez, though, he really likes the drama. He said, I hate the way he says it, but I like the way you say it back to him. This is on a Saturday in Vegas. I'm talking about you. I can't believe it.
I'm surprised you weren't talking about me every day in Vegas, Dave. I mean, I know you dream about me at night.
Theodore, do you want to take this interview over right now? I don't even know how to answer that on Flex Tuesday. So, I don't think about you at night, and I don't dream about you ever.
God forbid. Yeah. Dave, I want to ask you to start out about something we were talking about at the top of the show.
Yes, sir.
Prez was complaining that coaches are going for it more on fourth down. And how
it's not a complaint.
And from a total standpoint and from a side standpoint.
That is Mike.
How do you handicap that? I mean, with something like coaches going for it more on fourth down. All right, just something like that. Here's the concept. Coaches go for it more on fourth down now than they did 10 years ago. What can we do with that? Is that something we can beat totals with? Is that something we can beat sides with? Is that something we have to not consider? I mean, what do you do with info that doesn't fit into any easy category?
Well, I think it's hard to quantify, right? It's one of those things that I think books will start to adjust. Yes, I think you start with the totals, Teddy. I agree completely. You have to maybe adjust up less field goals. But what you also have to really consider, and I've been saying this since the 2-point conversion came into the NFL, the numbers that were dead numbers aren't dead numbers anymore.
Right.
Like any kind of combination, you're seeing these, what do they call it, a scorigami? I think when you don't see a score, it's the first time you see a score. Like there's weird scores happening all the time. 22-19. Yeah. So I think that's what you have to consider.
48-45 was a scorigami. That was one that I felt like that final score should have been there before.
Right? Because at least it's on an 8 and a 5. But can you imagine having Detroit scoring 45 points at home and losing the game? I mean, it's hard enough to be a Detroit fan or, be from there like Johnny Detroit. That's tough. I mean, that's a tough L.
I'm curious how many times that has happened. Both Teddy and I were actually on Detroit for our clients. I'm curious how many times a team has put up 45 points. And as Teddy mentioned to me, they doubled.
Ralph will have the answer for us in 5 minutes. Just text Ralph. He'll have the answer in 5 minutes.
Yeah, they doubled their team total, and still lost the game.
No, their team total was 27, and they got to 45. So they went 18 points over their team total and lost straight up. But I want to ask you this, Dave, because you talked about with totals, how you would approach. You're like with totals, you might want to, with the coaches that go for it. Which way do you bet the coaches that go for it? For example, all right, Buffalo, Baltimore, all right?
Yep.
Baltimore, game's tied at 20. If the coach kicks the field goal in that spot, it makes it 23-20. The over is very live in overtime. Yes. If the coach goes for it and doesn't make it, the over is completely dead. There are other times that you're saying, well, we want the field goals. Let's just kick the field goal, kick the field goal, kick the field goal. They'll add up. It'll get there.
Yeah.
When you're playing an over, do you want the coach going for it on fourth down, or do you want the coach that kicks the field goal? Because there's not an easy answer for that. So I don't know how that's predictive.
I don't know how it's predictive either, Teddy. It's pretty tough. Like, I think you can attack it in game a lot of times, like as far as a bettor. I think when you know the guy's going to go for it, or you have at least a basis of knowledge that he's going to go for it, you can make a play based on that. And they still got to make it, and they go for it. You know, he went for it on fourth down, didn't make it. You're done. All right. I think as far as the books going forward, pregame lines and making advanced lines and stuff. I mean, we were doing it with the Chargers. You just kind of bump it up a little bit because he's never going to kick it. So you kind of bump up a total, but it still has to happen. It's a great question.
Why wouldn't you bump it down? Like, this is what I don't understand. Why assume that it's going to be higher scoring because they're going for it on fourth down? You're at the goal line, Dave, on fourth down, and you miss, and the other team gets the ball back and gets 2 first downs. That's 10 minutes off the clock without a point.
10 minutes.
Sure, but if they do the same field goal, if they go for it on fourth down from midfield, that's great for over bettors if they don't make it. And it's great if they do make it. You want them going.
I agree.
Yeah. So,
but why assume it's going to be higher? We could assume it's going to be lower too. Like, if they don't get those fourth downs, or let's say they get the fourth down at the 50, and then they have to punt when they get to the 38. I don't know how you can assume it's just going to be a higher scoring game.
I don't think you can assume anything. That's what I'm telling you. I don't think you can assume anything.
We're literally professional bettors. Assuming is our job.
It's one of the most profound things you've ever said on this show.
That might be it. That's the one. You did it, Prez.
Dan, clip that, baby. Dave, what do you got for us on Twitter?
I'll tweet that shit myself. That was outstanding.
Thanks, dude. Oh, by the way, your wife called yesterday. She did find her glasses.
Shit, I got.
Jesus! She can't find them again. Oh, I'm so sorry to Mrs. Sharapan. I don't know why you keep stealing our glasses. Dave, what do you like in the NFL this week? Anything jump out at you? Anything you're hearing? Anything we need to know about?
Man, I'm still recovering from this past week. All my bookmaker friends have been crying for 3 days, talking about, well, man, we lost. Everybody won. Oh, it was a tough week. I'm like, guys, you won every week prior to this, and you didn't lose enough to have to bet. Everything's still up. Stop crying. I left the Kleenex box on the side. I forgot to bring it over as I was looking for the Mariners hat, and I couldn't find that either. That's why I'm confused and wearing the Blue Jays and the Mariners stuff. NFL this week. Let's take a quick look because I really haven't looked. Tell me why. Please tell me why New England's only 3 against Detroit. Still can't figure that one out. We were here last week. We told you the Dallas game was going to be every rhombus, every parallelogram, every pro, every dro was on Dallas last week. Sometimes the line's just bad. It was a bad line. Washington's terrible. Well, I don't know how good Detroit is, but New England -3. Let the what do we like to call it now? The respected money. Let them have Detroit. That's not for me. Philly, again, people are going to bet against them. They already have. The respected money's taking Arizona plus the points. Keep betting against the Eagles. It hasn't worked yet, but no, it did work once, I think. But yeah, good luck with that. Let's see. Vegas, Kansas City, Monday night. Wow, good number. 7. Raiders, boy, they saved the season. They beat the Broncos. Okay. That's good luck with that one. They're going to probably take the Raiders, trying to figure out what the number is. The books are trying to figure out whether every time they go over 7, they get the bad guy bet. That's fine. You can have it. Good luck with that. The Raiders how many times are they going to stop the Chiefs offensively? I don't know. And then there's a lot of question marks. I mean, great storylines. Pittsburgh getting 14 against Buffalo. And they waited to start Pickett until now on the road in Buffalo. I don't think that one's going to end too well.
Yeah.
That's it. that's it right now. It's just a quick peek at it. I'm sure we'll be on all week, different stuff talking about it. I had Carmine on the Bostonian versus the book yesterday. Ask Carmine.
Nice.
Carmine went 18-1-1. That's all I want to
Sick.
know is Carmine's picks.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Dave, I'll get you a promo code if you like. You can buy Carmine's entire NFL season from WagerTalk.com.
Wow.
Dave Sharapan, everyone, at Sportsbook Consig without any vowels. What do you got to promote? And then we got to say goodbye.
That was fast. I'm going to promote it with
dude.
my glasses on because you like these glasses.
It's your
so
wife's
much.
Glasses, Dave.
Bostonian versus the book every day, Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. I'll be on MLB Network this week. We're talking about the baseball playoffs. That's why I'm trying to break out all the baseball stuff this week. Toronto and Seattle is one of the matchups. We're breaking that down, big wild card special. I believe it's Thursday or Friday.
Nice.
And my own shows, Cash Considerations and 8 in the Box. It's 8 in the Box is college football. Cash Considerations is general fun podcast interview form. And Sports Grid and Sirius XM every night from 4 to 7 Pacific. Gabriel Morency, Cam Stewart. We're previewing hockey.
Well, they know hockey, so that'll be fun.
Maple Leafs.
Yeah, Dave Sharapan, get out of here, brother. Teddy, awesome show. Daniel, we've got over 100 likes. We're doing a real quick presidential address, and then we're done. Okay, guys, real quick. Look, baseball pick, real simple. The Marlins as a pretty decent dog. That's my only pick for today. Hope you guys watch Wager Talk today. Outstanding show. Tomorrow's show is Adam Trigger and Carmine Bianco. We're going to talk the Circa. We're going to talk some NFL and some hockey. Check us out. Teddy, my brother, I'm having a shawarma today. Word of no lie. Take us home.
That's going to wrap it for the Tuesday edition of Wager Talk Today. We want to thank President Shawarma Maker. We want to thank Andrew Mcinnis. We want to thank Dave Sharapan. And, of course, Rob Veno in the middle. I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with us. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, right here on Wager Talk TV, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon for you back east. Between now and then, you know what to do. Enjoy the games, and good luck.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.